Ding dong.
And if any of you refute that, I dare you to come out here and do something about it.
سبحان خالق الجبار.
Yes, YOLO, that's right, infidels. It's the final end of the era 2024 as we close the door on all of your worst nightmares, infidels. It's heels over strong as we head towards the new world order plans before January 20th. Will the drones take over? It doesn't matter because it's AEW end of days. And here we are on the Monday Locker Room. Netflix be damned. It's Hot Beat Media Group. YOLO. Oh, cut it. Oh, what's good, guys? What's good? Glad to be back here in the missile silo with a rare day off from the joint, but it was a crazy week. So I'm happy to get through as we head into 2025 and back with RBV in the place to be, man. Good to see you, buddy. And hopefully you guys had a good holiday, got through without too much debt going into the next year. It's just crazy, the price of everything, man. I know what's going on. I even got one of the gas apps this week. Not getting on the gas app, but maybe I need that too. Some TRT for 2025. But y'all, we're back here. Yeah, Beard is over strong for the next, I think 48 hours maybe. And then it'll be new year, new hacker. We'll see, man. Yeah. Good to see you, buddy. End of the year. Happy holidays.
Well, hey, get things started here on a positive note. Been a little bit since we've hooked up here. We're going to close out the year with the last locker room show. Tomorrow we still got Like It Raw, Big Ray, and Jimmy T, I believe, are going to be taking that home for us for the year. But, hey, you talked about going into dead, homie. How about a shout-out over there to Scott Woodford hitting us up there, baby.
Vikings 14-2. Yeah, dude. I don't know. The Bills look pretty unstoppable there as they were at 40-0. And the Giants looking like idiots as usual, winning when they should have absolutely thrown the game. So.
Absolutely not. The Giants are my hero. But, hey, I do got one for a big Viking fan there. Hey, have you seen a team as good as the Vikings, 14-2, with less fanfare, less hype? Everybody's still talking about the Detroit Lions. You know, they're still talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Buffalo Bills. And all the Vikings are doing is going out there and winning and looking impressive each and every time. Hey, it's going to come down to you got the Lions and Niners tonight. Lions should go out there and take care of some business, but you never know what's going to happen this late in the year. But it's going to set up a showdown if the Vikings can win that game next week in Detroit. They win the division and the home field for the NFC.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge, man. Absolutely huge right there for them. And maybe it's better to be slept on. You know what I mean? Like if you got a lot of pressure on you, that means you got to deliver, and it's a lot harder to come through and meet expectations. People not talking as much might be the best thing for them to set it on cruise control. Just keep doing what they're doing.
There we got Elizabeth joining us over there. Hey, she's crushing everybody. She is first place in the HMG football pick'em.
Well, I mean, she's a master at Moneyball, whether it's counting titles in AEW and statistics. She's definitely
she's that analytical nerd there that you need. But yeah, Ben, I wanted to thank you. Your Giants. We've got a long way to go here in Cincinnati, but we believe. There is still hope here in the 5-1-3. A few things went our way this weekend. We took care of business, beat Denver in an ugly game, but a wild finish, and a win is a win, and got a little bit of help from your Giants knocking out the Colts to give us some breathing room. We got a few more things to go. We need the Chiefs not to sit. We need them to take care of business next week against Denver. We need
that won't be a problem.
We need this is going to be the tough one. Who's it got? Oh, the Jets versus the Finns. We need the Dolphins to lose, and of course the Bengals have to win.
That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. The Jets are really good at losing. So Yeah, it'll shape up how it's gonna, but I mean, it's gonna be your major players at the end of the day. And I'm a Giants guy. The way I saw Buffalo play yesterday, I think they got a real shot this year.
You look at Buffalo. I mean, they are putting it up. Going back to when we were doing the bottom line and sports talk, and Hartnett said this season, and this was in the preseason, that Josh Allen is going to be putting up video game numbers, and he has absolutely lived up to that hype. I mean, he is freaking incredible what those guys can do. But
it's not even that. Like he's got 3 receivers, and when those guys catch the ball, they're looking like defenders, like they want to run into somebody. Like they get the ball, like come on, and like ready to go shoulder to shoulder with it, not evade and get extra yards. You're about to get run out, bread trucked. So that's interesting hunger to me. Like when guys are out there with that look in their eyes. They lost it a little bit after the first quarter, but in the beginning, dude, they were just like, yeah, come at me, dude. We'll see how it ends up for you. So I don't know. I like that aggressiveness.
Now, I will tell you, though, if it's the Bills at the 2, which seems pretty set there, right? They have that locked at completely, but I'm pretty sure they have. How would you feel, though, with knowing how good of a team you are, the chances you have, and the Bengals slide in at the 7th seed, and now you've got just as high-powered of an offense that can go toe for toe, blow for blow, coming in, who you've got a history at the Bengals with the very similar team to what we have right now, the same core, that energy that we have, led by Burrow, has come to Buffalo in the postseason and beaten you. That's not something I want to be looking at if I'm Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe it's just my New York ego, but Ohio's always hype, bro. They always act like they're franchise or they're going to get this or we got these cities.
We were hyped when we came in there a couple years ago and knocked you out. We were hyped when we almost killed one of your players.
The Giants been shitty, and that it didn't hurt me. Like I can say it for Buffalo. Like, yeah, I'm sure it might have hurt them, but like, you're Mr. Ohio, so it's gonna sting. But everything about Ohio is mid.
The only thing mid about this state is Midwest. It is.
It says it right. It's mid. Like they wish they were coastal. They wish they were over. They wish they were trendsetters. They want to be nostalgia, but there's really nothing to celebrate. Like it is what it is. It's people with no mountain ranges who have a factory state. And they crank out football teams. Like that's about it.
What other state can host a?
There's no food identity.
Food hashtag God's chili, Cincinnati chili, Skyline Gold Star on top of it. What other state is better suited to host a wintertime beach bash for a pro wrestling show?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We have got it going on. We've got the amusement parks. We are a complete.
The only time Ohio got over was Drew Carey show.
That was a nice compliment, a very nice compliment, that we had there. Hey, but speaking of that too, we're about to roll some ducks too, coming up here in a couple of days. New Year's Day, 5 p.m. kickoff from Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. The Ohio State Buckeyes getting a little revenge against the Oregon Ducks as we roll towards a national championship.
Ooh, Oregon versus Ohio! Look out, everybody!
Hey, get your O faces on, baby, especially for that OHIO.
Yeah, like that sounds to me like licking wallpaper.
Let's see here. New York, what do you guys got going on in sports?
Maybe sports. I mean, we're New York, guy. We run the world. That's what we do.
Yeah. You guys are the shining beacon of the example of why the rest of the world hates America, because they think that they're like New York.
Yeah.
New Yorkers, and it's an embarrassment really to what the other states represent.
Yeah, it is, but we still lead the way. You're still behind. Like that's the thing. Like,
you got your little floppy dough pizza that you hang your crown on. What else you got up there?
New York bagels. We got.
That's really
difficult. Chicken wings and chicken tenders.
Hey, I'll even you come down here to these mean streets of Cincinnati, and I'll put anyone on the west side, any of our butcher shops, up against any of the delis you got up there in your markets in New York.
Well, Katz's might disagree.
Who? Never heard of him.
Yeah, man, it's just New York arrogance. That's all it is. Everyone's the same people, and we're all regional and tribal. But football teams are probably fixed anyway, so it's all about who they're going to make the most money off of.
It's going to say so. When it comes to like inside of the state, because I've always taken a little different. You've taken a little bit of pride from not being in the city as an upstate New Yorker, which is a little bit different philosophy than what you get from, like the guys who are at the Hustle or the Big Ray hypes that are
it's way
right there in the city.
You have the sharp, critical wit of the same people in the city and know what a work truly is and how to hustle, but at the same time, people from the city don't understand chop wood, carry water, be on your roof, getting 7 feet of snow off, how to go 300 miles through the Adirondacks and never cross a main road. Like they don't know that shit. Like, and that's where like the upstate New Yorker and somewhat the Western New Yorker, Western New Yorkers are a little more Canadian sometimes, but the upstate New Yorker has like this built-in toxicity of like quickness along with a very weird work ethic.
Hey, you know what? One positive tie between us, as you'd mentioned here, Ben, we're just about 3 weeks away, 21 days away from a New Yorker at the helm and right next to him in Ohio and taking over this country.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like that, even though Donald Trump's never really had to do a hard day's work in his life. I mean, the guy is deals and hustle and working with different groups of people and
the ultimate carny, baby.
Yeah, and whether it's
WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah, all that shit, dude, and being a promoter of sports entertainment, all that shit mixes in. So obviously, if there's a line down the middle. And who do you align more with based on just life experience? It's going to be that side, sure.
Absolutely. Hey, but hey, you know what? You ain't gonna rain on my parade here. We believe in the Bengals right now.
Hey, I'll say this, even though it's all a work politics wise, all the most presidents from Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can blame Ohio for how shit.
Overall from the brand, from the Russo brand, Mr. Al Snow, an Ohio guy.
Yeah, of course. Lima, Ohio, a little known.
Lima, home of War Wrestling, now run by Mr. Big Tom up there. They're doing big things. Looking forward to a big 2025 from them. Who else we got? We got Dolph Ziggler. We got The Miz.
Dude, that guy hustles like he's a New Yorker. To be honest.
John Moxley from right down here in the mean streets of where I'm at, just overlooking Norwood.
How's that go? Like that could be the personification where people vote at number one. He's going to be the game changer, and you couldn't come up any more bland and not fucking moving the number whatsoever than Moxley. And just to go into that, what was it, World's End or End of the World as we know it?
Real quick though, we did have Born here. But they moved. But we did have the Macho Man as well. He was born here. Yeah, and he played for both the Reds and the Indians.
But they're carny, like family that moves around all over the place.
Yeah, I think it was just because the family. I think old man was working for the Sheep territory.
Yeah, it's where it happened at the time. But I saw that Darby with I don't know what they're calling themselves, BBCs or Death Cult something, whatever the fuck they're called, Death Jitsu,
the Death Riders.
Yeah, Death Riders. And they got the Darby's head in the chair, and Claudio jumps down to stomp his head in like the most phony, like business exposing bad stomp, and then kick him down the stairs because the guy is a skater stunt man and he's fallen down plenty of stairs for free, let alone to do it, for a big fat paycheck. But it's just like to show that terrible stomp, and both those guys are ex-WWE top guys. Really, they've been in main events. They're top guys, and to make it look so bad when all you had to do was pan up to Claudio, who's going to jump down off of something, and then have somebody with a chair to bang like it's Claudio actually stomping his head. So the audience should get to put whatever their worst version of what happened into that and protect the kid from because you're not really going to be able to stomp the chair for real and make it look good. So these are top guys, and this whole thing is a pre-tape. They're letting this shit out. Like, instead of fixing it with one simple production thing, just stay above where the leg was and have somebody do a bang with a fucking chair on the metal steps. It's just, I watch these things from guys who are supposed to be number one on the PWI 500 list, and it's a pre-tape, and you're going to let that terrible shit go out and represent you instead of fixing it with one production, difference. It boggles my mind, or really it doesn't. It just goes to show that A, the marks continue to know nothing who make these lists, and B, guys inside the wrestling bubble who are at the top who claim they give a shit about everything and pay attention to the detail they don't pay attention to the smallest details, because I wouldn't let that go out letting me have a weak shot. If it's live and it looks weak, okay, then we can talk about shitty work rate or laying it in for the cameras or whatever it is, but that is completely unacceptable in my opinion, bro.
Did you watch the pay-per-view or the PLE?
I watched a little bit of it while I was at the shop. I watched it, and it's like, I don't even want to really talk about them because I don't want any heat to come back on them. But obviously the Outrunners are my dudes, and fucking I want the best for them. And we're in this weird ass 4 corners tag match with 2 guys who should be over, but for a multitude of reasons, they're not. Some their own, some they're not. In Brian Cage and who's the other big man? Murder Hawk. I can't think of his name. I just call him Murder Hawk. You know what I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about, but as soon as you said Murder Hawk, I forgot his name.
Lance Archer. Tons of money on both of them, but couldn't be any more cold based on improper booking and da-da-da-da.
Get your shit in.
Right. And then we got Top Flight, who, like, they tried to get him over by the Bucks doing business, whatever. Not over, not even a little bit, especially when you got Private Party, pretty much the same tag team. And then you got Leo Rush returning with a guy I don't know, and they come out in these stupid thorn jackets. Hey, we got these dumb thorn jackets, and like no pop on their entrance. Meanwhile, the guys who fucking are the hottest thing going because of the old school stuff get over in their entrance. Crowd's going wild for them. Then they bring out somebody else, no pop. Like, that alone, before the bell even rings, should tell you who needs to go over and who we should be pushing here. Not the guys who just got re-signed and have effed up every chance he's ever had from developmental to WWE to Impact, and now you're going to put them over. Like, what message does that send to your locker room to start with? And really, if I was him, I would say, dude, let me go under so I can kind of prove that I'm here to be a team player and kind of brush some of that off of me of what I'm bringing to the table here. So to not put the Outrunners over and make them look like the cohesive tag team that they are, is an insane choice to me, dude. And it just continues. And I'm like, God, there's nothing else I really even care about on here. The Tony Storm thing makes my stomach hurt to even talk about it, So those were just some of the lowlights that I watched. And then really, what's everybody talking about? Some fucking fanboy who's asking a question and Tony's having a complete autistic facial tick reaction to everything that's being said. And that outshined every single thing that just happened on your pay-per-view. Now, nobody's talking about one storyline, one finish, nothing, dude. Like that's a problem. And it just continues and continues and continues. And supposedly those pay-per-views are with, worked questions, which I can understand that, but you're going to let somebody like sit there and half like backhanded insult the company until you finally get to the point and you look like a screwball on camera again. I just don't understand what these handlers are supposed to be doing to protect this product, man.
Well, I did want to talk about that, and I wanted to talk about both the major companies and professional wrestling, really in general, in a twofold sense here. Yeah. One, and let's talk about the AEW. As you kind of mentioned, this last couple of weeks has been really a mirror of a picture, perfect portrait of where the company has been. I mean, think about it has been just such a downward spiral in 2024 for AEW. Think about where they were. Even in 2023, they were losing numbers, but there was still a lot of hope with them. Even their hardcore fan base was really rallying around them. Now, throughout this course of this past year, it's just really fallen off, and we're looking at just embarrassing weekly numbers for their television. But again, they did get a pretty nice number for the re-up, though.
Yeah, but allegedly this was supposed to be the biggest year of deals and and then didn't they just lose? Not only is Rampage done, but Shockwave. No one wants it because of the trend of low numbers. Like. You see what the truth is versus what the PR campaign is to try and spin things. You know what I mean? Is 72,000 or 81,000 at Wembley great? Absolutely. That's a big achievement. But you got to ask yourself, is it a false positive, or how do we capitalize off that? If we're doing 80,000 and we've got an AEW fan base there, and in America we can't draw 2,000 to 3,000. Why are we having the show here in the U.S. when we could be drawing 10,000 there? Like short-term 90-day solutions.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You go back to 2023, they had the tremendous success with the stadium show at Wembley, where they do like 83, 84,000.
Yeah.
Then you go look at year 2, and that's cut in half.
Yeah, I mean that's still good though. Right.
There's still there is still more. They're clamoring more for your product there, but is that more of a case that
they're starved for entertainment and they don't get anything? As a
Western society, we like a spectacle. No matter what it will be, people will go for it. That's Western society, Europe and the States. And they're starved for it. It's not a regular happening. Where here you see AEW running almost the same dozen territories or cities in arenas, and they're just running it thin.
Sammy Callahan's from Ohio. I like him too.
Yeah, you got Callahan too.
Yeah, you're right, Rick. Yeah, absolutely. That's so. What is the micro play? If you're really gonna, it's not about like, oh, we got to get numbers up and Europe's our way. But if you're being under the microscope and you're running 16,000 arenas, and there's only 3,000 people there, you can't have that look when you're trying to get the deal done. You need to step to the mic with endorsements of every place you've run. Like they were so great and easy to work with, and we sold out 10,000 seats, and we definitely would have them back. You got to look for those. All right, I know we drew 72,000. I need 4 weeks of solid 10,000 crowds so I can go back to whoever I'm selling Shockwave to, be like, look, we're even over in Europe. This is a global product, not just US. These are our European numbers. And they'll be like, but if you have the easy hashtags to show otherwise.
And they have a great presence in Mexico. Apparently the numbers are tremendous down there. They work well with New Japan, it seems like. I do have a question over in the chat, John Enright.
I don't know, they're using them, but in Japan, but seems like there isn't much payback. Sorry, the John Enright's in the house from the Smack Attack.
From Smack Attack, our host there on Saturday morning. John's about an hour away from the big Texas Stadium show. He says he's not going. I'm just kind of curious, maybe if anyone else in the chat that's in that area, what could they do, AEW, that would make you make that short trip over there to be a part of it? I mean, is it that big of a turnoff for their biggest show of the year? You wouldn't go an hour as a wrestling fan and a pundit, or try to get press or something like that? So, John, you can go ask those stupid questions that send Tony Khan into a tangent.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's a good point, because John's got more credibility, in my opinion, than any of these fucking goofs they're letting in there to ask these. I'm from the Comic Collectors Podcast. When do you think there's going to be a toy coming out of here? Like, what? What? How about why is Commander Crying winning the TV title for a show that doesn't have TV? Can someone explain that to me? Like, what's going on? So, yeah.
I did hear Conan putting him over on Keeping It 100.
I don't know if he put him over because Conan didn't bury him. That's not putting somebody over.
He tried to
You know.
protect him a little bit in that because
Exactly.
because what it means to his family that he has pulled them up from poverty, that that they don't have to struggle now because of the success he has found.
That's fine, and that's Conan being a veteran in the locker room and a director who's probably gonna have to work with him in the future.
I
But
would say,
Conan
why wasn't that told to us as an audience? To let us feel that someone made this journey from.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That may be the reasons why. Conan does keep it 100, but Conan as a worker, like if he wasn't, he even said, he goes, if I didn't know him, I'd probably be making fun of him, because that is the wrong move. Like, dude, this is sports entertainment, a phony business. You can't. Everything is a test. Everybody is watching you at all times, and you're gonna break down and cry and get on your knees and hug this weird dude to like thank him because he gave you a paycheck, but you believe the title's real. Like, all your peers just saw you do that, and for a long time they're gonna fucking remember how weird and wrong that is, that you really believe you're champion. You really believe like that when you came through the curtain, you were different, and now everybody believes in you, and this solidified. No, the only reason you're holding that title is because somebody allowed you to lay on top of them while another man touched the mat 3 times. It's all fiction. And dude, the performers in it should know the difference between reality and fucking being a mark and thinking this shit is real. Like that. I don't feel as comfortable or as safe working with somebody like that, because their fucking head must not really be in a realistic place in my mind. Like, you're not, well, I can't do that because it's going to make me look, or you're going to go into business for yourself and get your own shit in because you got to look strong, or because it doesn't suit the storyline. Like, those types of things really show broken people who need therapy, in my opinion, because if you're fucking crying over the belt, bro, that is not even the main title or the secondary or third tier title on the main show. It's for the show that doesn't have TV, and you're doing it like
the show that isn't a show. Something's
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs there, bro. And like, I get Conan wanting to put over. He came from a tough way. If you came from a tough chop wood, carry water mentality, you wouldn't be having a fucking breakdown, in my opinion. You'd be like, yeah, I worked my ass off and I've seen a lot harder times, and I know this is just a phony ass belt, but at least it gives me a foot farther up in the door and up the ladder. But like, whatever that was, bro, is not healthy. Not a healthy like mindset to be in this business. And all your peers saw that, and 95% of them went, okay.
As they're looking at this,
Mizark or El Mizarco, whatever the fuck.
As they're looking at it, though, in the terms of, you put it in that perspective, isn't that what AEW in itself, and right at the top, Tony Khan represent?
Yeah, I guess, but the guys that are there should be a lot more fucking in tune, bro, of what it means to be in this business. If you're doing that stuff backstage, bro, like, you might as well be just getting guys autographs too while you're there backstage.
That's one thing that has always got me. And at some points, I wish I would have done more with it, and to this day, but I just don't feel as comfortable. But even on the indie level, and especially when you have a name come in, it's trying to get pictures with them. I just always stayed away from it. I just felt uncomfortable.
If you're an indie promoter and you want to, for the longevity, they say get the pictures and whatnot, that's fine. But dude, this is viral on fucking social media, and you're supposed to look a certain way.
I'll get professional pictures so we can say, hey, they were at our show for promotional things. But just going and taking a selfie with them, for Instagram or something, is something that I've always stayed away from. I
don't think that's a wrong thing to do. But I know promoters who that's the only reason they promote is to bring guys in to take selfies with them like that.
Like one, and I guess this is more personal, which would have been okay, but it kicked myself in the ass that when we had you come in and Beast, with the three of us to get a picture together.
I guess it's different level. We went out afterwards and had great conversation and spent time, and like I'll never forget that. So like a picture, who's that for?
Old,
You know
old
what I
top
mean?
shelf Hameen over here.
Yeah, like who, like, sure, it's all right to look back and whatnot, but if we're really living in the moment, like I just went to Lowest of the Low with my brother and his wives and my wives, and it was a great time. I didn't try and take my phone out one time to like, oh, I got to record this song and da da da. I was just like there trying to live it. You know what I mean? So, but some people want that, whether it's for clicks or clout or for down the road. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should have been like, oh, I wish I did, but no, it's fine. I'll always remember doing that show and fucking that hotel and the whole gimmick, man.
Oh,
So
God, the stories for that hotel. I'll even let you guys know. I guess one of the stories we can tell here is it's about 3:34 in the morning, and Hameen and Beast are trying to convince my ass to prank call Jim Cornette. Thank God I did not fall for that one.
that was a good time, man. So yeah, take the pictures if you want, but I don't think anybody you're paying to come in, like, should be able to accommodate you if that's what's up with it.
As you said, though, I mean, there's a lot of promoters out there that's simply what they do. Just to say that they hung out with those guys.
Exactly that, dude.
They're overpaying, and a lot of guys that can't really. I don't say they don't really draw, but well, they don't. You see a lot of some of these old timers that when they come
and then that's for. Do you want to do a one-off with somebody, or do you really want to like be part of the business and be in the upper levels of the mafia? So when they call, like I'm thinking of Josh. Josh doesn't really, maybe with like Sammy or a couple others, or have his picture taken, but he wasn't like, let me take selfies with all the Bucks and all the guys that came in. He was running the show. He was McMahon. He was that, and that's why they still call upon him. They don't call other indie promoters to like get ideas or anything along those lines. Like there's just a difference between the two. You know what I mean? So like I said, there's living it and experiencing it. Let somebody else take the pictures and you can enjoy it. But some people are just in the universe.
Well, going back to kind of the down year 2024 for AEW, it is that time of year where you come up with your resolutions. What can we do to get better? Again, they had the nice little television deal. They're going to, it was HBO Max, correct, where they're going to have their programming there as well. They're downsizing arenas in some of these markets. Just here locally, their AEW will be here in 2 weeks. They canceled the Louisville show. Apparently, they set some production people down there and figured out they were running pretty much in a rodeo barn that has like the open mud floor and all that, and I guess you can just smell the cow patties in the air. So they moved that here to Cincinnati.
I think I ran that place a couple times.
But even the place that they're running here in Cincinnati, when I saw it I just happened to catch a flyer. I mean, and the marketing in the area has been abysmal. But they downgraded.
How is that with Moxley? Why is he not there saying, I want all my Ohio people? Why is he?
I think that's a huge disconnect. You have got your top guy, your champ.
Because he's a heel.
Who lives here?
He's a heel.
Okay. Renee can do just as well as a good job on that. Get her on these local morning shows, probably a little bit better, because she's not going to go out there looking all twitchy and paranoid as Moxley does. And you got all these people under contract.
Moxley couldn't get over on Stone Cold Steve Austin's show. How do you expect him to get over on fucking Morning fucking Joe?
Come on, Fox now. Come on, man. But you had all those legends that I've been saying for a while that they should have been out in these cities, the Mark Henrys, the big shows, the Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
They
That's
should have
their
been out
value, bro.
These cities 2 weeks before the shows, hitting the networks, hitting the hot spots, and hyping these shows with ticket drops and things like that.
Absolutely, they should. You should have, even that's what Mercedes Moné is hired to do. I don't know if she's the best person on the mic to go do it, but you paid top dollar for a lot of these people, and what value are you getting out of them except for once a week to go shoot something? So whether it's legends that people actually recognize, they should be there with one legend and one, new talent. So we kind of are giving the rub and showing them how to do this the way WWE taught them how to do it, and passing that knowledge and how to get the product over and promote that, so people will either buy tickets for the local show or the pay-per-view or whatever it is fan experience you're selling with the Noble Edge effect. And yeah, we'd love to stay, but we got to go because we're meeting the kids at yada yada elementary school and get all that over, right? Like, those are not easy things for an indie kid who got a contract way too early, who doesn't know about promoting the town, promoting the show, making the territory. And the other part of that is it's OVW country. So are you going to come in and try and just bite that audience? Or I would try and conglomerate and, like do a partnership where we're going to have this guy and that guy show up. So hopefully we can pull your 400 fans to go do it. Why isn't Mr. Spectacular facing off with Brian Cage in a pose down or something? You know what I mean? Like, they don't have to fight to be like, who's more over. You just want to get the fans involved and pumped up about something. So there's a lot of opportunities that are easy guerrilla marketing that people say no to instead of saying yes and most of the time. And also doing it in a very mafia way to check in with Al and being like, hey, we're scheduled in 3 months. I don't want to just come in and try and act like you haven't built this territory. Love to do something with you so we can help co-promote, and we'll make 1 or 2 of your guys that you choose look good. Let me know and we'll come up with something so it's win-win for all of us. Who's got that spot over there? Will Washington? Does he know how to do that? You know what I mean? Is anybody taking the initiative, or have we scaled back so much that nobody's even in that position from who may have left the company in the executive realm? Are the Young Bucks handling that shit? I don't know.
Well, who knows where they're at now? But I regularly I tell some of the young talents that I work with, I tell the promotions that I work with, public relations, so important. They are so important that you cannot spell pro wrestling without PR. They're so important. They're the first 2 letters in it, pro wrestling, PR. It's so important. They just think that bell to bell and movesets are over, and they completely miss out on tapping into a market, growing their brands and their business.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Cold Blooded's got it. Danhausen was made to promote to kids, dude. I don't have time to flush these shows out. If there was 3 things I would do in wrestling that was to take wrestling to the outside, it would be to make the Tony Storm thing into what it should have been. It would be to have Danhausen as your next Pee Wee Herman, Sven Gulli type character. There's tons of money there. And then the other one is to do a very great action adventure show with the Outrunners that's like a spoof on Baywatch, the A-Team, Miami Vice. Yeah, it's everything that would cover 80 to 90s in set in present time, even though all the stuff would be old school. So, those would be 3 things that would make money to take your talents mainstream that would actually bring you millions of dollars and millions of followers. But these characters are ready made, and he has no idea how to get any value out of them. And there's a line of people down the hallway outside his door, apparently. So it's all just time for lip service and phony access to for him to get to hang out with wrestlers and feel important, like he's making decisions. But the show must be changing with whoever convinces him last. So that to me means there's no real captain of the ship, that the word is spread that, hey, if you butter them up, you can get over with them and get your idea going. And then it goes for 2 weeks and then gets stopped. I think there was some Sammy Guevara clip like that. It's like, hey, are we doing the thing we talked about? Oh, well, this changed and da-da-da-da-da. And it's one little piece of paper with squares written on it in a very fucking weird scribbled way, as opposed to a true run sheet, times, places for notes to go underneath that this is what I want focused on. These are the shots I need. None of that's in there. It's just one little fucking sticky pad, bro. Okay, that's what you're dealing with. Good luck in doing art by committee like that. So really the biggest thing that AEW would need if they really wanted to be successful is he needs to be eliminated from the creative process completely.
Do you happen to know, and I've never really thought about this before, we know he's got the book. He is one of those, he came up in that era of fantasy booker, role play wrestling. We just throw some people out there. You pick winners. He's got these dream scenarios in his head. How involved is Tony Khan when it comes to assisting with agenting matches, like things that he wants to see specifically, or does he kind of just let that go? Like, go wow me, guys, but this is who I want over. And
that's pretty much, yeah. How could he put together a match? He's never been in one.
Well, I was curious, if he's trying to maybe step over those boundaries as well. And these agents just happy to get a payday on it.
I gotta believe that falls to Jerry Lynn and other guys like that. You know what I mean? Like Tony might see what he wants for a big finish, or this guy's over, and we're gonna put him on a streak so he goes 21-1, and like things that don't mean anything because he doesn't understand the fundamentals of put heat on your heel, make your baby off your heel. Let's start there. Or here's how you format an entire show. And what is the inciting incident is what wraps up the show. Like none of that, instead it's just add another meaningless belts, have another tournament where we don't do any business for multiple storylines throughout the tournament. We're just actually having a tournament thinking that cold matches are going to mean something in credibility wise and draw people. And time and again, it shows that it hasn't, as you've seen a steady decline over a 5-year span,
I don't know. For me, I would look forward to it in the upcoming year that AEW really needs to focus on outside of the bell-to-bell, the movesets, all that. Focus on your PR, connections with other businesses. I think with NBA leaving the networks, how the hell they were not more involved with them sharing in networks. They got the NHL that they share with, and he's got the ultimate ties in the NFL, the hottest freaking product in all of sports and entertainment out there, and we get no crossover.
No, not really. And WWE isn't even doing that the right way either with having Liv Morgan.
A little bit. We talked about this over in the chat, the Netflix move.
Yeah, it should have absolutely been John Cena.
John Cena, The Rock.
Yeah, massive. Instead, you get Liv Morgan. It's ridiculous. Like that's them inside the bubble actually thinking that the world knows who she is.
I'm trying to think. They asked her the stupidest question. She was like, I would just cry for hours. Like, no, you got to get out there and get it going. I know Triple H was hogging a lot of airtime in those promo videos, but he's recognizable. If you can get him out there for one of those games, are you ready? One of those damn things. Yeah. People recognize that. They started getting.
Yeah, are you ready for Monday Night Raw? Yeah, but because it's nostalgia for our demographic, you know what I mean? And you're talking 18 to 49. It's the 40 to 49 year olds who will they watch?
Ratings don't matter. 24 million for those games on Christmas Day.
But that's still only half of what they're allegedly pulling on YouTube at 45 million, right? Like, so those are small numbers to WWE. Like, it's all fake metrics. Everybody's lying.
Yes, but what was trending? That's what matters.
What's trending is what you pay for to trend.
Well, speaking of Raw and WWE moving forward in 2025, expectations for that company, Ben, who in 2024 had a rocket strapped to their ass. We saw substantial growth. I agree with you. In so many ways, creatively, we're still only operating at maybe 40-50% of potential, 68 maybe on some cases, but business wise, the global expansion, selling out arenas left and right, shattering records, the big move to Netflix, pretty big deal for them.
Well, they're not trying to appeal to a small audience of 18 to 49 autistic and Asperger's level males. like that is the AEW, video game micro demo, and they've whittled it down to exactly that. And WWE in the other way wants to have adult content sometimes with women dressed as dominatrix with their ass cheeks out, but they also want to have the women's evolution. Well, which is it? Are you a side sex show, or are you somebody that is, a Wonder Woman that I'm supposed to believe in justice and virtue? I see goth dominatrixes scissoring, and I'm down with that. But then don't cut to the father in the front row with a 2-year-old who's holding them up to do high fives with the baby faces. Like that does lead to obviously bigger ticket sales and a wider audience, from 2-year-olds with their dads who want nostalgia to, you know, the anti-social wrestling fan that found their tribe, to the nostalgia of, hey, we're bringing back Coco Beware and Jesse the Body Ventura. Like, that's how wide that is, right? As opposed to this very, very small, narrow window that they've whittled it down to of sickos or whatever the fuck they want to brand them at. So, yeah. I guess that's what that'd be why they're marketing it to. Sean Paul. First question is a potential autism diagnosis. How big of a fan of are you of the Continental Classic? Yeah, dude. Like, I'm not trying to say anybody with neurodivergence. I'm not trying to talk about it. In fact, Love on the Spectrum has been one of my favorite shows of 2024 because it breaks down to the human level. I really enjoy it. But like, to sit there and watch that guy ask that question, and then Tony makes 15. That's it. Look up signs of it, you know, of neurodivergent, and it plays right into it. And with all genius, there's madness, I guess. And he might be very meticulous with numbers and Moneyball stuff and love wrestling. And it seems like everyone who has kind of some type of affliction like that, whether you're way into Disney, you're way into Star Wars, you're way into wrestling, you're way into whatever it is, you obsess about it. That's part of having that difference. So I just see that, and I'm going, as a worker and as somebody who's I like to think of myself as a pretty decent creative, and I've worked with a lot of people in a lot of different stages. Like, that's the guy who's captain in the team. That's who we're supposed to fall in behind and go, yeah. No, somebody, if they really cared and wanted this company to prosper, would go, buddy, I'm going to give you a fucking master's level education. I'm going to pass down all my Jedi knowledge, but that means you do not have the end all be all yes and no in this stuff. You have to trust me that I'm going to get you to the promised land, and I'm going to give you the education of why we do these things, why this works, why everything old is new again, and you can get it over. I just saw a viral thing of they're on these house shows doing funny bits because they don't care at the end of the year. Punk did earthquakes, jump around him, stomp, hit the ropes, come off, and sit on his chest. And people pop big for it. No little kids know what that is. That's the first time they've seen that. And here I am trolling Meltzer with one word, and he goes off, loses his mind because he said, don't say wrong about this. I put wrong. Instantly fires back and is triggered. I was just having a good time. But the fact is, you don't need to redo bits, reinvent the wheel. You should be inspired. Good artists create, great artists steal and make it their own. All of these bits have had success for millennia, since Roman fucking Colosseum times, since biblical stories, since Shakespearean stuff, since Greek mythology. Take from them. Take them directly and rip them directly and just change the names to protect the innocent and redo the bit. Look at the bit, look at the structure, look at the story, and then look at your cast of characters and say, which characters do I have that have these same fundamental ids that drive them? Ids to greatness, ids of jealousy, of betrayal, of friendship, of honor codes. There's thousands of these stories, and Tony either refuses to look at them and take them and think that his own little chicken scratches of, if I put this guy over, that's going to make the show that much better. No, you have to go back to what strikes at the heart of man's DNA, and it's these timeless classic tales. And you have all the actors ready to be plugged in, from a Murder Hawk or a Brian Cage, who are easily cast as Goliath, and you have plenty of Davids to sling a fucking rock. But instead, Goliath gets his shit in with top rope fucking hurricanranas and every other thing and still loses. So it just doesn't.
Well, Ben, I know you're not a biblical guy, so you don't remember that in the tale when Goliath went out there and did a 7 handsprings,
Yeah, this is back elbow.
landed that perfect 10,
Yeah.
right off the horse there.
And yeah,
All before David got that slingshot out.
I mean, I'll go back and revisit it, but I mean, it sounds a little more exciting than I remember it.
Yeah, it's I believe that's the book of Russo.
Yeah,
That was
Hamid knows he stole Ali's gimmick. Are you talking about my guy Ali or Mustafa Ali, who should have done the gimmick and never did the gimmick whatsoever? Oh yeah, I stole the Arab gimmick. Like they came up with it. It'd never been done before. There's never been another guy ever to do the Arab heel. Not since Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Not since Iron Sheik.
Not like there's a million of them on the planet.
Yeah, it was all me. I stole it all. You caught me. You want to know what the difference is? I did it the best. That's what it comes down to. You might not have seen it on TV, but I'll put the level of heat up against anybody's shit. You know what I mean?
Where did you start developing the character? Was it before you went to OVW? Did you got to have the idea what you wanted going in there? And
no, the very first thing I ever did got me heat when I was like, "Who's this fucking actor who tries to do it?" What did I do? Sat in the corner, put my head back, did a very Mick Foley, Mankind-esque strange character, very similar to Bray Wyatt. It was very, very, very close to the very first thing I did, but I instantly got heat because Scott Cardinal used to sit in the corner. I had no idea, and he stole it from Raven. So we were like, "Oh, Cardinal's going to be hot. This new guy's sitting in the corner doing his shit," and it didn't get over at all. It bombed because they wanted me to feel the pressure. It wasn't the greatest thing of all time, whatever. But I was just like, all right, let me try and play a character right now. And I tried to take from Foley Mankind something dark. And wasn't long after that while we were in the crowd because we were seat fillers, but Rip goes, you're a packy to Ali and Omar. One's Iranian, one's Lebanese, but we're both Pakistans and Rip's eyes. and he goes, "Pops, you can grow a beard, do a character, get a fucking tan. Don't be a fat fuck. You're their fucking manager." So
that is the
that's how fast
the origin story. How about that one here for you?
Yeah.
A locker room exclusive.
Yeah. But before that, like coming from Chicago, everything we were doing was anti-Bush administration, like anti-war with Nice Peter and stuff like that. So I was very, as conspiracy minded as I've ever been at that time too, and doing it. So like the foundation of war study was all there. And then that night after Rip put us together, I just was watching Fox like I usually do back then and watching war in real time. And they just kept insurgency. It's like, that's who the fuck we are, bro. Like you couldn't have a more generic name of like who's the bad guys? The insurgency. Here they come.
Simplicity at its best though.
Yeah. Super simple, right? For the crowd to digest.
Now, were there any talents that you really sampled from that you enjoyed, looking at their work and saying, okay, this worked for them as the evil foreigner is the Middle Eastern?
Yeah, I mean, I would always look at other managers' bits, whether it was Heenan or Jimmy Hart or Cornette.
I always enjoyed. He never, he was usually working the territory. I got to see him on ESPN when he did the spots, but Akbar.
I would not bite directly, but I have to not try and pull as much focus, even though I would, and the guys would get hot. But like at OVW, you do what you're told to do, especially early on, So I would try and take from everybody. Really, what I was trying to take from was either evil movie villain characters or true to life leaders like Hitler, George Bush, Dick Cheney, whatever they would say. I would just come out and say the same thing.
Got to throw Junior in there, huh?
In my voice, right? Like, or whatever is going on with gas prices. Gas went from $2.45 to $4.75 in 2.5 years there. It wasn't that hard. Bow before me or I will raise your gas prices.
How quick did everything get over with the OVW audience?
What was weird there is Al kind of, I don't want to say held me back. I just wasn't in his creative plans because he had Team America, which was Mike Krul, who was the top guy there at the time, with Melina Roca and Vladimir Kozlov and Los Locos, who we worked a long time with, great guys.
I remember all this. I remember that group.
Yeah. So that was Team America, not one American in there. And then to like when it started to become a little bit not stale, they brought in Ali or Omar and Ali because they look good and they're Arabs, right? But they didn't need me as a manager because you've already got her as a valet and Mike Krul is a top promo guy. And Vladimir Kozlov will unscrew your fucking head from your shoulders like a fucking pickle jar if he wants to. So it was really just for the Arab hate. And like guys were like, why aren't they letting you in? And like trying to fuck with me. And I was like, hey, dude, when my time comes, my time comes. And it never really did during contract time. But then as soon as that ended, they put us on TV. And I was on a little before that. You know, I had done other things, Pull Apart with Idol Stevens and what's his name who played the pirate? He was badass. Paul Burchill. Yeah, thank you. You know, a couple small things on TV, which that's just getting you used to being out in front of that crowd with a camera on you. And then after Derby City took off and OVW, it was TV every week. So
you told a story about the birth of the Hameen character and the words of wisdom, if you will, from Rip. Remember my first conversation with him was on the Rip Rogers podcast. And the point of the show was to bring in a new promoter, a hopeful promoter, and have a conversation to get advice from Rip. And the advice he gave me,
quit.
No, it was take that money. Well, hey, fat ass, take all that money you got, go buy yourself a gun and one bullet, and then leave the rest of the money to me.
Pretty much, dude. It's the fastest way to lose $150,000 is open a wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
Like you got a better chance in the casino just going and betting it on one roll at the fucking craps table. So, I mean, but it's for the love and for the passion and try and make something artistic in your life. It's the same as anybody from 1920s Broadway. You tried to put up a play thinking you were going to make money, and some of them ate shit and other ones went on to become timeless classics that still make money. You know what I mean? When they're rebooted, and some people are wannabes and some people are going to make it. And there's some great minds who never are able to truly get that creative respect. I can name plenty of workers who are better than everyone on your TV right now. And, you know, like I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or anything like that, but to me, GGP is better than 95% of your WWE roster. Understands to put on an A+ WrestleMania match any night you fucking ask him and call it on the fly, cut a huge promo, looks great. And like outside of, you know, independent hardcores are like, oh, I remember from the wrestler or this, like that guy's as good, if not better than anybody who gets labeled the WWE standard, you know? And I say the same about myself creatively, but I also got to allegedly consult. So I don't really have anything left to like, oh, I need to do it. I need to go work with some guys who cover up for rapist sex offenders and sign NDAs to have sex with 23-year-olds that they hire specifically for that. Like, I'm glad that's not me. You know what I mean? I'm like, at the time you want nothing more than when you're in the bubble to be, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I was on Vince's jet and da-da-da. Now I look at it and go, fucking thank God I was not on the fucking jet, dude. And I don't even believe in God. So that's all.
What was it that you shared it on air? I asked you one time, and we didn't really hear Mr. Russo speak out about it, but you said it one time that Russo said that McMahon said to him, if you really know who I am, you wouldn't want to work with me.
Yeah. Like those are admissions of that Robert Durst level of like guilty conscience of, yeah, I know where the bodies are buried, literally, where like the of rats that we fucking somebody killed one night in a hotel room and we're out digging a hole. Like that's could very well be it. As well as you don't want to know what I've done to who knows what, you know what I mean, to make these deals. So I'm fine with that, bro, because the me of who I am, I don't think I would compromise. There's plenty of mafia things of wrestling where I abide by the code, but if I saw somebody getting hurt that way, I'd probably peel his cat back with about 4 or 5 punches in the fucking face, bro.
There we go. Hoping, kind of getting up on the clock here, man. Anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think what else there was big this week. Obviously, Netflix kickoff is going to 3 hours again. I think that's a huge mistake. The show's
It's going to be interesting to see the formatting with that, without the required commercial breaks and things like that, and just your structuring of a show from open air television, cable to your streaming.
There is going to be commercials in it, I guess, is what I had heard that. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And I don't know, there's going to be blowback. I think when you make yourself the focus, like that Triple H ad did, like, you know, the locker room's going to start talking.
And not that Raw is just going 3 hours, because it was, but we also have SmackDown at 3 hours. So that's, I mean, you add up that extra hour every week of programming you're expecting people to watch, man, it becomes quite a task for your viewer.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's why movies aren't 3 hours. You know, there's a reason, and that to me is a mistake. Like, we know what the conditioning is. We have the operant conditioning metrics. They're not, and I wouldn't do that. I would go like maybe 2:16, and like, you never know when it's going to end. Maybe it ends right at 2. Maybe it ends at 1:47. Do we write an episode? This is interesting.
I think that would be that's an interesting point from going back to the old territory days, like, well, with TV time remaining or a 30-minute time, you know, end it real quick.
What if we had, like, there is no this or that? Like, could you have an entire wrestling show on Netflix where the wrestling is going on out in front of the crowd, but everything you see on the show is behind the scenes and what's going on, and is more of an episode of episodic TV? Like, there's a lot you could do with no commercials if you wanted to, and ending the show at any time you want in a 3-hour time window. They don't have to meet X to X because this is coming on next, right? When it's done, you're just going to hit replay or not if you missed it live.
It pops up. If you like this episode, you'll like this show.
Right. But I'm just saying, we have a chance to make movies, pal. And what does it look like if the wrestling isn't even featured that week? Isn't that an interesting concept?
Don't you always talk about those different wheels turning and overlapping each other?
Right. Like, it's not like they couldn't have done it on USA or anything like that, but this is an opportunity to do those types of, what does WWE the movie look like and what's going on? And we start with the end of a match and somebody's coming back, and we follow that character and the Beast storylines, and you see him in Gorilla, and what's happening in Gorilla is more important. And then somebody goes out for their match and you hear the bell ring, but we're still focused on what's going on back here. You know, there's a lot that could be
I pitched to you a direction on Netflix going back a couple of weeks ago where the show would look more like Heels, and you shot me down on it.
Yeah, but that's not like the heel side of it, of like, it's this brother versus that brother, you know what I mean? Or,
I didn't mean necessarily the storyline, but the way that you see the interactions at a different level, and then you cut into maybe a middle of a match where things are happening there, or
then I redacting and
show me Cody out on the road, you know, the things that he's dealing with each week, you know.
But what are those scenes?
I wouldn't break the kayfabe in it. I would keep it in the storyline.
Oh yeah, it has to be crafted the right way to tell an ongoing movie where it looks like reality TV, but it's not. It's completely crafted for that, 100%. Right. So
yeah, I mean, if I stepped on your idea now, it's not like you show the scene of Wyatt Six going to Sonic and getting a burger afterwards, you know, because you just shit all over that.
But if you didn't see my clip from Friday that Kaz put out, and maybe I missed it on SmackDown, so maybe I am in the wrong, that we saw Cody after Saturday Night Main Event getting stretchered out.
Right.
The next time I saw him, maybe I was at Ravens Joint. I wasn't paying attention. He was on camera, but regardless, even if he was, it was a meaningless segment because nobody was talking about it. The next time I saw him, he's judging an ugly sweater competition for a viral video backstage. And who comes up and gives him a hug?
Kevin.
No, the fucking, what's her name from, it was all the girls. fucking superhero chick turned Wyatt Six.
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross coming up out of character, out of makeup, hugging Cody. And then when they declared Candice LeRae the winner, she's right there in the fucking shot. Like, nobody cares about their character. So if that's the way it's going to be, then these people who aren't actually hurt, aren't actually a fucking zombie, show me what their lives are like, and or them getting balled out because they appeared in that video out of character. Like, that's where the real drama would be. Nothing that she's going to put on that white makeup is going to make me believe she's anything more than a Cirque du Soleil performer.
Yeah,
I don't
need that part of it, but
No.
you can bring it to live through a cinema to really add to the dynamic and evolve the presentation and the business going forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's how it is. And I'm excited. I'm going to be to be back here with you today. So thank you. I'm going to be actually back on in 90 minutes on Cafe de Rene with Brutal Bob Evans. So that should be interesting tonight.
Tune in for that one, man. If you haven't heard Brutal Bob, man, you are in for a first class master's class.
Ass whooping. All right. So it'll be good. It'll be a good time. And just a day off from the joint before, New Year's Eve sales, but holiday has been a real incredible time at the store. So I'm very blessed and humbled by it all. You know what I mean? So just keeping on that path for 2025 and hopefully working towards Ravens joint too. That'll be my whole next year ahead of me. So
Ravens joint 2, Electric Boogaloo coming at you.
Yeah. And perhaps you'll see a whole different side of me soon here in the next 48 hours as well. So.
Ooh, corporate Hameen.
Coming at you right there. That's going to be a weird look, right? So, but yeah, you guys have a good new year, man. Tune in. I'll be on tomorrow with Stevie and Vince for Raw and SmackDown review. And we got some revamp to do on HMG just because they're trying to soak me for a real high price for video, and I just got to find an alternative solution. So thanks for keeping it locked on Hameen Media Group for tomorrow for Big Ray and the Vet, and on my YouTube channel here for the locker rooms, so we can keep getting content out to you guys so we get all the uploads back on track. Appreciate your patience. So have a good 2025 and the invasion of the orbs and whatever aliens and Anunnaki returns, and to see if we actually make it to January 20th without any bullshit. I do not believe we will. I think the next 2 weeks are going to be explosive. So we'll see how it all goes. Art of the B to the V. You watch your diet in 2025, Mike.
Oh, I might have something coming at everybody. Maybe a little announcement. Surprise there for New Year's Day. Little foodie eating competition live before them Buckeyes if I can get some assistance with it. But hey, thank you, Ben. Good to be back with you again. Look forward to get back on a regular schedule here for 2025. But right now, I got to run out this door.
All right. I do love Ohio.
We are in control.